Hello everyone, and welcome to our first ever Let's Read. To kick this off in the right way, we are going to be reading a special book, to say the least. As you probably all know, Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. If you want to know a little more about that, I have a video explaining sort of the details and where it is in our culture currently. But let's dive right into this. We have some, well, you can see the cover. Subtle, right? Yeah. We have some trees on the other title page, as if we need a reminding who wrote this. For my big sister Emily, without whose enthusiasm the story might still be unfinished. Aww. Fuck you, Emily! Contents, chapters. It's actually kind of nice. You don't see that most times. Ooh, Bible. Biblical. But of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, thou shalt not eat of it. Unless I got my stories wrong. I'm pretty sure they do, but let's go on. For in the day that thou eatest thereof, thou shalt surely die. Genesis 2:17. Again, subtle. Preface. Ooh, again, contents, preface. We really don't see this kind of thing, so let's dive right in. I'd never given much thought about how I would die, though I'd had reason enough in the last few months, but even if I had, I would not have imagined it like this. Okay, fair enough. I stared without breathing across the long room, into the dark eyes of the hunter, and he looked pleasantly back at me. Fanfic! Surely it was a good way to die, in the place of someone else, someone I loved. Noble, even! That ought to count for something. Yes, martyrism at its best. Teenage love! I knew that if I'd never gone to Forks, I wouldn't be facing death now. But terrified as I was, I couldn't bring myself to regret the decision. Right. So you're terrified, gonna die, your love's probably dead, but you don't regret the decision. Makes perfect sense. When life offers you a dream so far beyond any of your expectations, beyond the wildest expectations, it's not reasonable to grieve when it comes to an end. Of course it's reasonable to grieve. Who would be happy? If you had a fantastic dream and someone told you it's over, who's like, oh, it was fantastic while it lasted. I don't have any regrets. Of course you're gonna be sad. The hunter smiled in a friendly way as he sauntered forward to kill me. Okay. Hunter sounds a little fruity, but, let's dive right into Chapter 1. First sight, again, chapter titles. I'm really missing these kind of things. I have to applaud Stephanie Meyer for actually taking some legitimately cool steps. Too bad the whole book is shite, but, we'll get to that later. My mother drove me to the airport with the windows rolled down. It was 75 degrees in Phoenix, oddly specific. The sky a perfect cloudless blue. Perfect. But what is a perfect sky? Whatever. I was wearing my favorite shirt, sleeveless, white eyelet lace. I was wearing it as a farewell gesture. Again, who wears a shirt as a farewell gesture? I mean, I understand when you're on a cruise, you could wave your handkerchief, you could, open a bottle of champagne. Who wears a shirt? How selfish and stuck up do you have to... Oh, we're talking about Bella here, aren't we? I just answered my own question. My carry-on item was a parka. Again, why did I need to know this? If I point that out every time, though, we're going to be here forever, so I'll try and keep it to a minimum. In the Olympic Peninsula of northwest Washington State, a small town named Forks exists under near constant cover of clouds. Okay, fair enough. It rains on this inconsequential town more than any other place in the United States of America. That is unlikely. I mean, I guess Washington is a kind of rainy place, but really, you just happen to be going to the place that rains the most in the world, but I don't know. I don't know why I've never heard of it, but we'll see. It was from this town in its gloomy, omnipresent shade that my mother escaped with me when I was only a few months old. So, who was she escaping from? Because I'm not gonna lie, I read ahead a little bit already, and she's going to live with her dad. So, were they escaping from an abusive parent? Then why she's driving her to that parent if they escaped from her? This already doesn't make any sense. Fuck it, let's go on. It was in this town that I'd been compelled to spend a month every summer until I was 14. That was the year I finally put my foot down. These past 3 summers, my dad, Charlie, vacationed with me in California for 2 weeks instead. Oh, Bella, so we already can tell she's a materialistic bitch. She put her foot down. She's not going to hang out with her dad in Washington. Poppycock! She needs to go to California. This is a girl with standards. No, Bella. I already hate you. It was to Forks that I now exiled myself. This makes no sense. How are you exiling yourself? You can't exile yourself. Were you kicked out of some place? Is there some sort of ritual where if you didn't leave, the dragon's going to consume another victim? This makes no sense. Stop trying to act like you're a martyr. An action that I took with great horror. I detested forks. Then why the fuck are you going there? This makes no sense. I loved Phoenix. I loved the sun and the blistering heat. I loved the vigorous, sprawling city. Then why are you not in Phoenix? Bella, my mom said to me, the last of 1,000 times, before I got on the plane, 1,000. But how long was the trip to the airport that her mom had to say Bella 1,000 times? Was she just staring at her? Bella, 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 Bella. Yeah, see, that was probably only like 20. You know what? Wait. Yeah, there we go. That's why she's escaping. Her mom is just constantly saying the word Bella over and over again. And I can understand. You know what? I don't even think this mom has a name, and I already like this mom. She's the most likable character so far. You don't have to do this. Well, of course she doesn't. She said that already. There's no reason why she's doing it. Thank you. I love this character already. My mom looks like me, except with short hair and laugh lines, so she looks nothing like you. I felt a spasm of panic as I stared at her wide, childlike eyes. Awkward. How could I leave my loving, erratic, harebrained mother to fend for herself? Of course she had Phil now, so the bills would probably get paid. There'd be food in the refrigerator, gas in her car, and someone to call when she got lost, but still. So you put not being able to eat, not being able to get to work, not being able to even pay your bills on the same line as getting lost. No, I'm sorry, that does not make any frickin' sense whatsoever. You do not put those on the same list. I want to go, I lied. I'd always been a bad liar, but I'd been saying this lie so frequently lately that it sounded almost convincing now. Tell Charlie I said hi. I will. I'll see you soon, she insisted. You can come home whenever you want. I'll come right back as soon as you need me. Characterization! But I could see the sacrifice in her eyes behind the promise. What sacrifice? Just letting you go in the first place? Going to get you? That's not exactly a sacrifice. I mean, yeah, you have to sacrifice time, but you're making it seem like this dramatic event. Oh, and by the way, just so you know, we're only on 2 pages. Only on the 2nd page, and I've already had this much commentary. But don't worry about me, I urged. It'll be great. I love you, Mom. That's nice. She hugged me tightly for a minute, and then I got on the plane, and she was gone. Okay, simple. It's a 4-hour flight from Phoenix to Seattle, another hour in a plane up to Port Angeles, and then an hour drive back down to Forks. Okay, flying doesn't bother me. The hour in the car with Charlie, though, that I was a little worried about. Oh, Bella, why the fuck do you keep calling your dad Charlie? He is your dad. You refer to your mom as your mom. You refer to your dad as Charlie. This makes no sense. You don't explain why. You don't give any context. You said you escaped with your mom. So I'm going to have to go on the fact that your dad is some sort of, like, rapist or abusive parent. So again, why are you going there in the first place? Your mom sounds like she's got a, oh god. More messed up family than I thought. Your mom sounds like she has a stable relationship right now with a guy who treats her right. So why are you leaving the place you love and the people you love to be with a guy you don't like in a place you don't like? Makes no sense! Charlie had been fairly nice about the whole thing. He seemed genuinely pleased that I was coming to live with him for the first time with any degree of permanence. He'd already gotten me registered for high school and was going to help me get a car. Again, sounds like very nice parenting, so I don't know why she's so miserable about it. But it was sure to be awkward with Charlie. Oh, the horrors! Oh, lordy! He's getting you a car. He's gotten you enrolled in an education. But it's going to be awkward. Neither of us was what anyone would call verbose, and I didn't know what there was to say regardless. I know he was more than a little confused by my decision. As am I. Like my mother before me, I hadn't made a secret of my distaste for forks. Now here's what blows my mind. Bella just randomly tells us why she hates forks. Now look, I get spoons. You know, spoons are bullshit, okay? Let's be honest here. I mean, you can eat soup with a fork. As long as it's, you know, you're not just trying to get the broth. You can get the stuff out of it with a fork. So forks are like your multi-tool, you know, and knives, they're necessary. You can kind of use a fork. Can't use a spoon, though. So my point is, spork, okay. Fork, damn good. And knife, decent. Spoons are bullshit. Why the fuck does she hate forks? They are wonderful utensils, but we'll see. When I landed in Port Angeles, it was raining. I didn't see it as an omen, just unavoidable. I'd already said my goodbyes to the sun. Yes, because any place on the Earth would be inhabitable where there was no sun, or at least for human beings, because I know there's some biology major out here who's like, bullshit, good sir, what about the deep-sea animals who live far beyond the sun? Yes, I know, there are certain organisms that can live without the heat of the sun, or at least direct contact with the sun. Humans, on the other hand, not so much. Charlie was waiting for me with the cruiser. Apparently the battleship was sunk that day. This I was expecting too. Charlie is Police Chief Swan to the good people of Forks. Who do you have to piss off to not be Police Chief? You have to be Police Chief Swan. Next to Detective Snickleberries. My primary motivation behind buying a car, despite the scarcity of my funds, was that I refused to be driven around in a car with red and blue lights on top. That makes no sense. Because she said her primary motivation for buying a car, despite funds. Like, I get what she's trying to say is that she wants to buy a car even though she probably can't afford it. That much I get. But she says it right after saying her primary motivation, implying that her primary motivation is not being able to buy a car. So clearly she just wants to spend outside her means for no other reason than spending outside her means. Again, total bitch. My primary motivation behind buying a car, despite the scarcity of my funds, was that I refused to be driven around town in a car with the red and blue lights on top. Nothing slows down traffic like a cop. Again, bullshit! If you put on the fucking red and blue lights, you can run through traffic! That's what cops fucking do! God, Bella, you are a dumbass! Charlie gave an awkward one-armed hug when I stumbled my way off the plane. It's good to see you, Bells, he said, smiling as he automatically caught and steadied me. Were you drunk getting off the plane? Had too many of those little bottles of alcohol on it, so, you're stumbling off wasted as can be? You haven't changed much. How's Renee? Okay, well, actually, I stand corrected. We have a name for the mom, so, alright, fair enough. Mom's fine. It's good to see you too, Dad. I wasn't allowed to call him Charlie to his face. No shit, Sherlock! You're still in high school at best. Who calls their parents by their first names? Especially since you don't call your mom by the first name. I can understand since they're divorced, you're doing it for both parents, and maybe because they're, she's removed from Charlie, her dad, that she does that. But still, just the fact that she seems so upset by not being able to call him by his real name to his face. He's your dad! He seems like a genuinely nice guy. You are a bitch. I had only a few bags. Most of my Arizona clothes were too permeable for Washington, because that's how real teenagers talk. My mom and I had pooled our resources to supplement my winter wardrobe, but it was still scanty. Scanty is not a word. Well, maybe it is, but it's definitely not right in that context, because you say it was still scant. I have scant resources. Why scanty? Makes no sense. It all fit easily into the trunk of the cruiser. Again, kind of cool, though. I mean, this guy drives a police car. He drives a freaking cruiser. They're in a fucking submarine over here. Well, it's not really a submarine, but you get the point. He's driving something that would fit in the game Battleship. I mean, come on. That's fucking awesome. I found a good car for you. Really cheap, he announced when we were strapped in. What kind of car? I was suspicious of the way he said good car for you, as opposed to just good car. Again, you can't afford a fucking car, yet you're going to look a gift horse in the mouth. He's trying to be nice. He's trying to give you a means to get there. He's not only willing to drive you to school, but willing to get you a car to get to school, and you're going to be upset about it. Well, it's a truck, actually, a Chevy. Where did you find it? Do you remember Billy Black down at La Push? Billy Blake? Maybe? No? Okay. La Push is the tiny Indian reservation on the coast. Token Indians. No. That's it. She literally just says no. He used to go fishing with us during the summer, Charlie prompted. That would explain why I didn't remember him. I do a good job of blocking painful, unnecessary things from my memory. What is with all the implications of molestation and rape? He's in a wheelchair now, Charlie continued when I didn't respond. So he can't drive anymore, and he offered me to sell his truck cheap. What year is it? I could see from his change of expression that this was the question he was hoping I wouldn't ask. Well, Billy's done a lot of work on the engine. It's only a few years old, really. I'm loving Charlie so far. Bella, complete bitch after the first few pages. Charlie, awesome dad after the first few lines. I hoped he didn't think so little of me to believe I would give up that easily. When did he buy it? He bought it in 1984, I think. Did he buy it new? Well, no. I think it was new in the early 60s, or late 50s at the earliest, he admitted sheepishly. Shh, Dad. Apparently she wants to get into beatboxing. Dad, Charlie, Dad. Like, what? I get what they're going for, but it just looks so awkward on the page. By the way, I don't really know anything about cars. I wouldn't be able to